Hello, this is Julie from cuttercrafter.com. I posted on my blog today instructions for getting the SVG cutting file for this card, this pop-up card, into Cricut Design Space. The SVG file will load into most Cutter software, but there's a little extra work to do in Design Space once you get the file there. So I thought I'd show you, as in addition to the explanation that I put on my blog, about how to get a pop-up card to cut properly from Cricut Design Space. So what we're going to do is go to Cricut Design Space, and we'll open a new file to get this blank page. Then click on Upload at the bottom left corner, and you can go to Upload Image and then Browse, and then find the file that you download from my blog. You'll need to unzip it after you download it. But once it's unzipped, you'll be able to grab the file. It's called Happy Birthday Pop-Up Card. And once you click it, the upload button, you'll see that the design comes in on this checkerboard square. I do recommend that you add tags for future searches. Tag such as pop-up, card, happy birthday, any other tag that you might want to use. And the name already came up in the image name file, so I'll just use that, and then click on Save down at the lower right corner. Once you click on that, then that file comes up on this recently uploaded images. So I'm going to click on this one that I just uploaded, puts a green box around it, and then click on Insert Images. Now once it gets here, you'll notice that if you click away from it and then you try to select anything, the whole thing is selected. That means it's all grouped, and we need to ungroup it. To ungroup it, I just right-click and select Ungroup. Now you'll see in this file that I have all different options for which birthday we're celebrating, first, second, third. Then I just put individual numbers here that you can select from. I also put the suffixes ST, ND, RD, and TH that you might need, and I did a few by welding some of these numbers together. You can select the numbers you want. Let's suppose that you have somebody celebrating a 13th birthday. Just line up the numbers that you need on one of these grid lines where you want it to be. 13 needs a TH. And I do recommend that you not use the only ones that you have here, but to rather duplicate it or copy. So I'm going to make a duplicate by coming up to the top right and clicking Duplicate, rather than use my only copy and it'd be gone. If I want the 3, I'll duplicate it, move the duplicate up, and then the TH, the same thing, I'll duplicate it and put it on the line. Now I could just cut these and glue these on the tab, but I don't like working with a bunch of tiny little pieces, so oops, I need to duplicate this. Don't want to use it up. Because if you weld it to something and you didn't make a copy, it won't be there next time you need it if you save it. Okay, so I have that ready. Then all I do is select it and weld, which is at the bottom toolbar. And now I have something that I could custom that I can go ahead and put at the top of the page. On my card that I made, somebody requested one for 101st birthday. So I made 101st in the same way that I just showed you in Design Space. So once you've figured out which numbers you want, you can really just hide all the other green layers. I don't need the third. And to hide them, you click on the eyeball. So everywhere where there's words over here on the right, I'm just going to click on the eyeball to close them. And there, you notice there are a lot of words. But if I don't need them, it's better to keep them out of the way. So the ones that say happy birthday pop out. Those are the ones that I'm hiding. And then they won't be in my way anymore. So I have only one more 0 down here to close. If I select it here, it takes me to it in the layers toolbar on the right side. So now I have just the one that I need. I have a yellow candle that will go here, and the backing outside of the card is this purple one. And you notice that I have a score line in the middle. If I don't make it a score line, it's going to be cut. You notice when I click this, it takes me to that shape on the layers panel on the right side, and you'll notice that here's the purple design. It will be cut, but it's grouped together with a cutting line. You know that it's a cutting line because there are scissors here, but it has a red slash through it indicating that it doesn't have any fill color. I want to make this line a score line, so I'm going to click on the scissors, and up at the top click on score. So now that line won't cut. You can barely see it, but it's kind of a blue dashed line across here indicating that it will be scored. That's important. The other thing that's important is that I select that score line as well as the purple shape. And what I'm going to do is minimize or make this screen a little smaller. I want to select the shape and the score line by just dragging my mouse around it, right click and select attach. Now that score line is attached to the back of the card so that the software knows that that line goes with this shape and it won't send it to its own mat. So that's taken care of. That's the backing, the outside card. I'm going to move these aside because I need more room to deal with. This is the main card, which has all the cutting lines on it. Now this needs to go to the back, so I'm going to right click and move to back. These pieces are going to be decorative pieces. Not these. These are the score lines. But these are the decorative pieces that are going to go on the front of the card after the pop-up has been assembled. So those could be just kind of placed there for temporary. But what I really need is to have the white part that's now on the back. And I need to line these score lines up with the cut lines, because a pop-up card will not work properly if the score lines are in the wrong place. you'll see that there's score lines right here, the very top ones in this blue box when it's selected. The very top score lines have a little space in them where the candle is going to be, and you want to line that up right under happy. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see how those line up. And I need to zoom in because precision is very important when you're working with pop-up cards. These lines right here going across the top of this cake layer here need to line up with the side straight cuts. The top score line needs to line up with the top of these vertical lines. So once you get those lined up, when you look down, you should see that all of the horizontal lines, which are score lines, are lined up at the bottom of each of these columns. Now, this is important because when we attach these, they need to be attached in the right place. But also right now they're all cutting lines, and I need to designate them as score lines. So on this layer, which is the one that I have selected here, we want to make sure that these lines are score lines, the ones on the layer with the red slash across it. That means there's no fill color. So we want all of those score lines to be dashed. I mean, they appear dashed here, but your scoring tool on your machine will drag a solid line, but it won't cut, and that's important. So now I'm going to zoom out again so that I can select the entire white card plus all the score lines, the cut and the score lines, right click and attach. So now all of these pieces that are going to be either cut or scored on my white sheet of paper are all going to stay together. And these pieces will be all cut separately anyway. So I believe that I'm ready now to go to make it. Let's see if I made any mistakes. If I go to make it, I see that layer 1 is the white pieces, and they're to be scored and cut. And that looks good. Then I have layer 2, which is my pink pieces. That looks good. Layer 3, just the one little candle. You can use scraps for these. I made my card out of scraps that I had laying around. And layer 5 is a cut layer. You can edit the positions of these, and I like to conserve paper, move this up a bit so that I still have some paper remaining that I can use for something else. Then number 6 has, notice the score lines right in the middle. So if I were to have a page that was black with just score lines on it, then I know that I didn't attach something right. But it looks good. Everything is as it should be. I'm not going to cut it right now because I already did, but I wanted you to see how to prepare a file that has a lot of score lines before you go to cut in Cricut Design Space. So if you have an Explorer or a Maker that has a dual tool holder, then you can put your cutting blade in the right holder and then put your scoring tool in the left holder, and then it will do the score and cut in the same project. So I hope this was helpful for you in learning to use this cutting file. Now I have the free SVG cutting file available at my blog, and it's cuttercrafter.com, and you can decorate the outside of your card as you like, and you can add more decorations or less if you would prefer to have it simpler. But I hope this helps, and we will hopefully get an assembly tutorial up too, in case you need that. So thanks for watching. Bye.